What's up, peeps? Shane again. I'm doing this video today. I want to go over something a little bit different. Um, this is kind of what got me into the knife hobby, knife enthusiasm, knife collecting, whatever you want to call it. I've mentioned this many times before, but it all kind of started with me when I started the hobby of putting together a bug out bag. This is not my bug out bag. This is just a fairly cheap, but so far very durable Amazon pouch. I think I give $16 for this thing. There are much better pouches out there. Um, for the trolls in the comments, go ahead. I've heard it all. Point is, I rarely ever use this thing. I hope I die and never have to use this thing. This pouch is situated on a tactical gun belt along with 5 other pouches, and my knife, I call it my scout belt. The reason I call it that is because when I get to where I'm going and set up camp, even if that still be in the cab of my truck, the majority of my stuff is stored in my backpack. However, if I'm going out scouting, looking around, hunting for resources, I have a scout belt that I wear that has all the essentials that I think I could possibly need, from cutting tools, fire making equipment, emergency shelter, extra ammo, all that kind of stuff. What we're covering today is my fishing kit. This is on that scout bag. And in all honesty, once I figure out where I'm going, which, unless something forbids me from going to my predetermined location, the first thing I'm going to do is, because in all honesty, guys, I can sleep in my truck. I can set up a quick shelter fairly fast. One of the first things I'm going to do after I get past, water and shelter is start looking to procure food. I have come up with a way of doing that requires little to no effort from me, and that's where we get into this pouch. Guys, I do keep a full size and a featherweight fishing rod in my truck, just for such things. I know people, the bug out community is out there screaming you can't bug out in your truck, blah blah blah. I'm staying with my vehicle until all else fails, because that's what my health says I need to do. A few basic things that you see right off the bat that have absolutely nothing to do with fishing. However, every one of my pouches has a lighter. I am not rubbing 2 sticks together. You guys can have that. I have lighters everywhere, so there's a lighter here. There's also a way of making light. Just a cheap Coast $12 AAA flashlight. I keep a cutting tool in here for cutting line, for processing fish or small game. This is the Civivi Riffle. Very nice little knife, good for this task. I also keep these pliers in here for removing hooks. As you can see, this is an old pair. They're very rusty. However, they still work very well. I can also use this for entering places with barbed wire fence or chain link fence. These come in very handy for getting myself into places that maybe people don't want me to be, which I would never, ever do under normal circumstances. However, this is a shit hit the fan situation. Guys, these bags and these packs are not necessarily just for the zombie apocalypse. They're not just for, Russia has invaded. They're not for all the reasons why we like to fantasize and build these kits. These can also come in very handy just in a time of economic downturn. With this kit right here, I can feed my family, and I will show you how. In the back side here, I just keep a handful of floats. Don't need many of those. There are things in nature that float, so I try to stay on the smaller side with my gear in this pack. And this is something that I've caught a lot of flack about. Told me that I've heard that this is a waste of space, a waste of weight. I disagree, and this is why. Because regardless of the situation, especially if it's an emergency situation, I think it's a great idea to have bait that I can start with right off the bat. This is something that I can catch small fish with. I can cut up said small fish to catch larger fish. This can be the difference between, spending hours hunting for bait, burning calories, getting cold, getting wet, whatever. I can skip all that because of this. Could I break this down into a more convenient carrying solution? Absolutely, and I probably should, in all honesty. But I do keep this, starter bait so that I have a leg up on the situation. I believe that's all that's back there. These are the main reason I wanted to make this video, guys. This is one of the single most important bug out tools, survival tools, whatever you want to call it, that I believe a person can have, can keep, can carry. And there's a very good reason for it. I'll show you why. I keep 3 of these in my fishing kit. However, there are more in my regular bag, and I'll show you why I keep these. These are called fishing yo-yos. That's what I call them. You can see why they would call it a yo-yo. It's just a wound spring inside of a wheel here, and you can pull out as much bank line as you need to reach the water. And once you have, you simply, well, forgive my hands, guys. You see the notch there? There's a couple of notches. You turn that down. You let the line hang into the water. Put your leader on there, and or your hook with a piece of bait. You can tie this to a limb that's overhanging the water. It's very easy to cut down a small sapling, something that you can lay out over the water. Your hook's here. And what happens with a very light tug, it doesn't take much at all, guys. I'll show you. I'm just going to barely pop this thing. Just a little light tug. This thing sets the hook, reels the line in. Now, this is not going to lift a 2-pound fish out of the water. What this is going to do is set the hook and provide enough tension that it can't dive. It will allow it to swim around. However, that spring pressure is going to wear them out and constantly pull them back towards it. I've caught fish as small as, half-pound brim that this won't lift out of the water. It keeps them in the water. The great thing about that is that I can set these and leave. I can go back and work on shelter. I can go back and work on fire. I can go back and work on water purification. All the while, this thing is doing all the work for me. This and the other 2 that I have, I just set them up in separate locations so that, to up my odds of catching fish. I do keep a small bag of small split weights, and I keep guys, this is just a cheap Walmart hook assortment. Works great for this. There's some larger hooks I can put cut bait on. I can catch larger fish with. I don't need a $300-400 fishing setup to feed myself. And like I said, this is not just for a shit hit the fan situation. These can be really cool just on a camping trip. But the best thing about these, in my opinion, is you keep this. You never know what situation you're going to find yourself in. The people in Ukraine right now are still getting up and going to work most every day. However, they are having a hard time getting some of the things that they need. This kind of stuff can save your life. This kind of stuff can feed your family when you need it to. And I think it is worth its weight in gold. That's all I have in this kit, guys. It's not big. It's not extremely bulky. It doesn't weigh much. Like I said, I'm not going to carry this around with me all the time when I get to where I'm going. If I decide to go out and scout for resources, that's when I put this belt on. I've shown the belt in the past. I have upgraded it. So I'm going to do another video on that, showing my upgraded system. This is just one of the mini pouches that come on it. So, let me know down in the comments, guys, what you think. I'm sure there are there's plenty of hate out there about my setup. I'm sure there are plenty of better ideas. I'd love to hear them. Yes, I do keep bank line in my main pack. So this is not all that I have. Another great thing about these, guys, these aren't just good for fishing. These make excellent snare traps. These are excellent triggers so that you don't have to be an expert at carving triggers. This is your trigger. I haven't tried it because it's a little humane. I wouldn't want to do it unless unless I was in absolute need. But you can catch squirrels, mice, chipmunks, birds, all kinds of things with this. If you bait it, here's your trigger. And guys, these weigh literally nothing. They're super lightweight. There's plenty of line on there. You can drop this down probably 10, 12 feet off the bank if you need to. Yeah, I recommend it highly. I recommend everybody have one, whether you think you'll ever need it or not. These fishing yo-yos can be bought on Amazon for nearly nothing. All this stuff is dirt cheap. So, get yourself prepared, guys. And like I said, hopefully one day you pass away in your old age, surrounded by your loved ones, and you never had to use this thing. That's the goal. You guys know I appreciate any amount of time y'all spend with me. Peace. Love y'all.